Hey, Trump, listen up. You want to make America great again. But to do that, you've got to understand what it was that made America great in the first place. And among those things was immigration. I don't know if you fell asleep in school or what when they talked about the Pilgrims and the Puritans, the Mayflower, Plymouth Rock, and all that. Those were people who came to our continent. It wasn't a country yet, but they came to our continent to find safety. They came here because they believed in freedom. They came here to escape the tyranny and the oppression and the tortures that they were discovering at home. Now you like beautiful women, right? You have all these pageants, these beauty contests and everything. A couple of them have taken your name off them because of those embarrassing statements you made, these jokes about women's menstruation. Did anybody laugh at those? Anyway, you made those jokes, but you understand what a beautiful woman is. And let me tell you about the most beautiful woman in all of America. She's from New York, so you should be familiar with her. And she stands outside. She stands outside in the rain. She stands outside in the cold and the snow and the fog and the night. She stands out there to welcome people to the United States of America. And I'm talking about Lady Liberty. I'm talking about the Statue of Liberty. Did you ever read what she has written on the plaque in the Statue of Liberty? I got it here. Listen to this. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. And that golden door, that gateway to America, that gateway to a land of democracy and freedom, you want to close it. You want to close it to immigrants because you don't like immigrants. You want to build a wall along the south, and you insult all of our neighbors by saying that all illegal Mexican immigrants are rapists. They're not rapists, Trump. That's ridiculous. Not all of them. Can you imagine what that means? A statement like that means to Spanish-speaking people in all of South America. Do you have any idea what kind of a statement that is? How people are enraged at that kind of a statement? How women are enraged because you say, oh, they have menstruation and they make your jokes. How veterans and the men and women in uniform in this country are enraged when you insult one of our great American heroes, John McCain, by saying he's a loser because he got caught. Trump, you go around insulting people all the time. You do it because you're a bully. No, I learned about bullies. I was in the 4th grade. I remember that well. They used to intimidate me. They used to knock my school books out of my hands. They used to scare me. They never really hit me, but they knew how to intimidate people. It was schoolyard stuff. But then, Trump, I moved on to the 5th grade, and I learned you can stand up to bullies. I learned that in the 5th grade. You may get smacked once or twice, but if you stand up to a bully, he's going to walk away from you. No, that's wrong. If you stand up to a bully, he's going to run away from you. Because bullies are cowards. And there's one great fallacy about the bullies that you ought to take notice of, because it's your fallacy too. You seem to think that by putting other people down, this somehow raises you up. But America does not work like that, Trump. We Americans don't like bullies. And you push some people down, it pushes you yourself down. I mean, this tactic may work on your reality TV shows. It may work in your billion-dollar boardrooms. It won't work in America. You think back, Trump, think back on the presidents of the United States that were great. Pick the ones that you liked. Pick whoever you want. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, FDR, Ronald Reagan, whoever you like. And tell me about how they bullied people, how they made other people small, how they separated us all. They didn't do that. They drew us in, and they told each and every one of us that we are the United States of America, that we belong together, and whatever else we may be, Republicans, Democrats, old or young, Mexican or Italian heritage, whatever we are one thing first. We're Americans. Let me tell you this let me put this in a different way, in a way you may understand. Let's talk about money. You know money. This is a dollar bill. You probably don't deal with much money in these denominations. You much bigger money, but and you probably see very little cash, because rich people, I am told, use very little cash. But on the back of this dollar bill, it says "E pluribus unum." E pluribus unum. That's Latin, and it means of many becomes one. Many become one. Many states become one. Many nationalities become one. Many religions become one, because we are the United States. We're one country. That's what makes America strong. And if you don't understand that, Trump, you will never understand why you can't make America great again. Because our greatness is our unity. Our greatness is our immigration, our mix of backgrounds of people from all over the world. I mean, some of us were born in America, the Native Americans. Some of us were taken over to America in chains and used for slavery. But the bulk, they came here to find a safe place. And they're greeted in a harbor of the United States of America by Lady Liberty. And next to Lady Liberty, you're from New York, you should know this, there's Ellis Island. It's a beautiful, beautiful museum and a memory of the millions and millions of people who came to a free America, not one that built walls to keep the Mexicans out, and not one that told them, we don't want any Muslims. That is so incredible. It is so incredible that you discriminate against an entire world religion, against billions of people. You say, we don't want them. Well, let me tell you something about the Muslims, because I know a lot about that part of the world, and I'm going to start with the USS Truman. It's an aircraft carrier, Trump. It's part of the U.S. Navy. I happen to know the ship because I was on board the ship during the war with those 5,000 sailors. And right now, they're out in the Persian-Arabian Gulf. And they're keeping our country safe out there. They're sailing up and down treacherous waters off the coast of Iran. And it's dangerous stuff they're doing there, because they want to keep that Gulf and the Straits of Hormuz, they want to keep that stuff open for free trade. Now you're not an oil man, Trump, but you should know enough about world trade to know that 30 to 40% of the world's strategic oil passes through that Gulf. And those seaways are really, really important for us. And they're being guarded by the Truman. And the Truman can do that because they have a safe harbor nearby in a country called Bahrain, a Muslim country, Trump, a Muslim country. You may not hear much about Bahrain, but ask anybody in the military, they'll tell you it's the home of the Fifth Fleet. And without the help and support of the Bahrainis, there are hosts, we would not be as strong in the Persian-Arabian Gulf as we are. And next to Bahrain, there's another country. I'm sure you know that, Qatar. You know that because lots of billion-dollar deals are cut in Qatar, and the Qataris invest all around the world, including in the United States. But did you ever hear of Al Udeid? Al Udeid is a military base in Qatar. In fact, it's the largest military base outside of the continental USA. We launched 2 Gulf wars from Qatar, from Al Udeid, and we are fighting our sorties against the ISIS terrorists are flying out of Qatar. So these are our allies, these are our friends. We need them and they need us. They're strong alliances. And what are you going to do? You're going to tell them, if they want to come to America, sorry, you don't like the way they pray. And because you don't like the way they pray, you're going to tell them not to come. Now, next door to that, there's another country you know very well, the United Arab Emirates. Let's talk about Dubai. Because in Dubai, Trump's big business. He builds these towers, right, Trump? You build these golf courses, right, Trump? You make lots of money on the Dubai. Now, they've taken your name off a couple of them because they were so disgusted at your anti-Muslim remarks. They took your name off the towers. Now, eventually they put them back on because there's a lot of money in there. But are you familiar with the military bases in the Emirates? I don't think so. I never hear you talk about the strategic value of things. Those pilots from the UAE are flying wingtip on wingtip with Americans. They are our friends. They are our Muslim friends and allies, and we need Muslim allies in that part of the world. We need them desperately, and we need a president who's going to strengthen our allies in the Arab region and not make them angry. And there's one thing. I know you're not a military strategist, but there's one thing that I think even you should know. We will never, ever win a war against ISIS solely through air power. Not by carpet bombing, not by drones. We need soldiers who are going to fight them on the ground. Everybody knows that. And we don't want to be all of those soldiers. We don't want this to be an American war again on Arab territory. We want to fight this war with allies, which means we need allies like we have them in Dubai. And the people from Dubai want to come to America, you're going to say, you can't come in here. I don't like the way you pray. I don't like the church you pray in. You can't come to America. Let me tell you about one more country before I leave this subject. It's called Jordan. Murad al-Qasabi is probably a name that you've never heard. Murad al-Qasabi was a pilot in Jordan. Actually, when the king of Jordan asked their pilots, do you want to volunteer to fight against ISIS? It's a dangerous job. All of their pilots raised their hands. All of their pilots wanted to fight together with us. They wanted to fight ISIS. Jordan is a pro-American Arab country. There aren't that many of them. They are our friends. They share intelligence with us, and they share intelligence with the Israelis. Well, Murad al-Qasabi went out and flew attacks against ISIS, and Murad al-Qasabi was shot down by ISIS. And Murad al-Qasabi was taken prisoner by ISIS. And Murad al-Qasabi was put in an iron cage and welded into an iron cage and covered with gasoline and lit on fire. And ISIS filmed this man and his horrific screams dying, and they put it on the internet. You can look it up on the internet. They're pictures that you will never forget, Trump. You will never forget them. These are men who have died and fought with us to oppose ISIS. And you're going to tell him and his family and the other pilots from Jordan, you can't come to America. I don't like the way you pray. Are you out of your mind, Trump? Are you crazy? We need friends. We need friends all around the world. What about the British Parliament? They had a big debate about you. They called you an idiot. They called you a buffoon. They said they wanted to ban you, or some of them wanted to ban you from coming to England. Trump, you've made enemies all around the world. In South America, you've made enemies among women. You've made enemies among our uniformed people. You have made enemies of billions of Muslims all around the world. You have enemies in Germany and in England and all across Europe. Now, you haven't even been elected yet. You haven't even been nominated yet. And let me be honest with you, Trump, you haven't even won a single primary yet. And you have these huge enemies all around the world. Man. Now, these enemies, Trump, are your enemies. Now they're just your enemies. But God forbid, if anyone lets you get elected to be president of the United States of America, these will be our enemies. And we don't need enemies, Trump. We need friends. We need friends within America, that Americans understand that they are friends with each other again, that we all can be proud of our heritage and proud of our country. And if you want to make a real contribution, a real, genuine contribution to making America great again, get off the stage, Trump. Go home. Go back to your reality TV shows and your billion-dollar boardrooms and do whatever you can do best. But get out of American politics. Make room for real leadership. Put an egg in your shoe, Trump, and beat it.